overdosed on heroin, got arrested, went to jail, went to court.
Yes, this is the first time that a convicted felon.
Well, I'm not a convicted felon.
Welcome to the Baer Show. We about to shoot the shit with an arrow. Got a lot of guns and I got a lot of questions. About to figure out every one of life's lessons.
I did a diversion program, so my record against the state is 1-2 right now, brother. We're on a comeback.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're 1-2.
It's okay. Week 4 though. You guys have a chance to
hit 500.
What's a diversion program?
I did. It's a program called Treatment in Lieu of Conviction. It's supposed to be a year-long program where if you get arrested on drug charges, they try to treat you like an addict and not like a criminal. And so you can do treatment programs, and upon successfully completing them, you get your charges dropped. And I did it.
You passed.
I passed.
Nice. Was that hard? I mean,
man, it was hard as fuck, dude. It's supposed to be a 1-year program. It took me almost 4 years.
Can you walk us through the process?
You can do regular court and drug court, which was where they offered the treatment in lieu of conviction. I started out going to IOP, which is called intensive outpatient. Kept fucking that up. Just kept getting high kept doing drugs. Yeah, a little bit of heroin, a little bit of weed, a little bit. Dude, I think about this sometimes. I would smoke weed on felony probation, and it's just the absolute worst thing in the world because you can get your color and number called for a drug test any day of the week. So I'd smoke weed on a Tuesday night. I know I would call to make sure I didn't have to pee on Wednesday, and I'd smoke weed on a Tuesday night, and then I'd have all these sweet treats, but I would remember that THC is fat soluble. Ooh. So I would I'd get all these sweet treats when I was high, and then I wouldn't eat them because I was like, fuck, man, these are gonna make me fat and I'm gonna fail the drug test. So I just amassed a bunch of candy and stuff, and I'd be high and paranoid that I was gonna fucking fail and go back to jail. Fucking fail and go back to jail. Fucking fail and go back to jail.
I mean, a stoner's worst nightmare, being high, having a bunch of candy in front of you, and you're not allowed to eat it.
Yeah, I remember smoking weed at 14. People are like, hell is when you have all the weed in the world but no lighter. And it's I don't know, man. I think hell is being high as fuck and having more pudding than you know what to do with and not being able to eat it.
And if you eat it, you will
go back to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bottom of that pudding cup is jail.
Put that rule into place. Maybe some husky people would get skinnier.
Yeah. If you eat too many sweet treats, you go to jail. I didn't eat the sweet treats, and I still ended up back in jail, man. It was kind of bullshit. I really fucked myself. I robbed myself of some sweet treats.
What was it for this time? Just
probation violations. So an outpatient, I kept on violating probation, and I got sent to a lockdown facility. I went to jail and then a locked down facility, which is where I couldn't leave, but it wasn't jail. It was a rehab with locked doors, where I just couldn't leave, but I could wear street clothes, and I could get visits and stuff. And
it was just permanent study hall.
Permanent study hall. Yeah. One guy did right before I got there, a guy tried to jump out the window. He broke the window to jump out, and then he saw how high it was and he got scared. So he was just fucking standing there now with a broken window, the only person in the room, and now you get in trouble for damaging federal property or whatever. Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but so I did that. That was supposed to be 90 days. I did it in 105. And then I got out and went back to the outpatient program that I failed the first time. I was doing all right for a little bit. Then I fell back into violating probation. And I got sent to a different rehab that wasn't a locked down facility, but it was supposed to be like intense and like a boot camp. It's supposed to be like, this is where men get sober. This is tough. 6 months there, and then I got high and got kicked out, and I went on the run for a little bit, and then I ended up going back to that place and being like, would you guys take me back? I want to get sober. And they're like, yeah, we'll take you back. And I was like, cool, now let me go talk to the judge and ask if she'll let me go back. And they're like, what the fuck? The judge ended up letting me go back. And that was supposed to be a year-long program, but after 6 months there, I think they needed to make room for someone or something. They let me out, and that's when I just finished the program.
Can we like rewind a little, take it back to you as a untainted child? You hadn't had any of the naughty drugs in your system yet. What kind of kid were you, and like where did like the impetus for doing all this naughty stuff come?
Yeah, so I don't know. I had a like really like fine life growing up. Like we had everything we needed, and we had like a lot of what we wanted. Like it's not like I had like a bad home life or anything.
When was the first time you drank?
When I was in 5th grade.
Wow.
And I smoked my first cigarette
cool, dude.
in 4th grade.
So cool.
I was probably the coolest kid in 4th grade.
So how old were you when you initially got caught up? This is like when you were in college in Chicago?
I got bad on drugs in Cincinnati, but the heroin and like crack got bad in Chicago. So in Cincinnati, I worked in a restaurant and like was doing like pills and stuff because that was what was happening. And then right before I left for Chicago, we couldn't get any like Percocets, but somebody could get heroin. And I was like, well, I'm about to go to college in Chicago. There's no way I'm going to be able to get heroin up there. I might
Chicago?
as well just try it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I did. I tried heroin in Cincinnati, and then lo and behold, I moved to the south side of Chicago where
were you, like Bridgeport or
95th and King.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
like
down there.
the cops would stop me walking to the train and stuff and just like go through my stuff because they're like, there's no way you're down here to go to school. You're telling me you go to the HBCU down the street? No way, man. You're down here to get drugs.
And you did go to the HBCU?
Yeah.
What did you just like black people or
I was dating a girl that was going to go to school in Chicago. I was going to try to just get an apartment in Chicago and nowhere would rent to me. So I just Googled college Chicago, and this was the first place that popped up.
And
that
what
was
school
still
was it?
accepting people. Chicago State University.
Oh yeah, that's where
Kanye West dropped out of.
Yep. That's
His mom
right.
was the head of the English department.
She was.
I dropped out of there as well. Make whatever fucking correlation or
Pretty
whatever.
cool.
I remember I showed up to the dorms and I saw my door, and then I opened it, and my roommate was like, oh hell yeah, I knew I had a white roommate when I saw your name was Connor. That's a white name. I was like, hey man, your name is Benjamin White.
I mean, that's pretty
I
white.
thought you would have been white, dude.
Yeah, Ben White.
Yeah, man.
Whoa.
Don't fucking put that on
Dang.
me.
Shout out Benjamin White, friend of the program. Where's he at now?
He failed out of the first semester, I think. I remember when report cards came out, he was just packing up his stuff, and he told me, he was like, he was just like, man, they didn't have my grades. I was like,
they didn't have.
yeah, he's like, man, they like said I didn't go to class or whatever, but I went to class. You saw me go to class. You saw me not in the room, man. They just said they don't have my grades. I was like, did you not go to class? He's like, I went to class, but they didn't have my grades. I was like, every single class didn't have your grades. He's like, yeah, man, crazy.
But they said HBCU later.
All right, let's go, brother.
Welcome to the Baer Show.
Welcome to the Baer Show.
How old were you when you impregnated your beloved at the time?
I had just turned 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. And
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, you weren't wearing protection?
I was not. I'm not kidding you. As we were having sex, she asked me to do that, and I thought, You know what? I know people who have tried for years to have kids. There's no way the first time I do this, she's gonna get pregnant.
Shout out.
Yeah, all right, bleep her name out.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Man, I got a little kid. I got a little daughter, and I'm starting to like, all these benchmarks are starting to come up where I'm like, oh, I was fucking up at that age. And it really just puts into perspective how young I was doing these things.
Yeah. And it probably like makes you happy that like it seems like your daughter's on a good track.
Yeah, for
But-
sure. It makes me just like nervous though, because
Yeah,
if she's
for
like
sure.
me, she's lying to me.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
yeah.
like to me, she's very like sweet and she follows the rules and stuff. But she could also just be lying.
What's the best part of doing crack?
The first hit is for sure the best part. Like anytime you got a nice bag of crack and you get to load up the first hit, you better fucking make the most of that hit, because that's the best one that you're getting all night. After that, you're just, it's all downhill, brother. You're just chasing it, and it never.
Can you take me through like from picking it up to
Yeah, if you have like a guy or girl, girls can sell crack too. Non-binary crack dealers, haven't met one, but I'm sure they're out there.
oh sure.
Non-binary crack dealers, chime in. Let us know where you're from. It's a lot of waiting. You're waiting because, crack dealers, unfortunately,
Not the most upstanding businessman.
abuse their power. They really understand that they have you by the fucking nuts. And if they know that you're very limited, or they know that they have the best crack, they really fucking take their time. It's kind of a grievance, and there's no better business bureau for crack dealers. You know, you just kind of got to deal with it. You burn the copper so that way you get all the bad chemicals off, because you can't have anything impure in your body when you're smoking crack.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to bring anything bad into your body while smoking crack.
Yeah, and then you you put it in your mouth at about a 45-degree angle, and then you
Take notes, by the way.
Yep. There is a test on this at the end of the episode. You say something like, "Oh man, I can see why people leave their families for this stuff."
Is the feeling just like of like wiredness, or is there like a mellowness to it, or is it all just like
It's pretty, it feels like when Superman like pulls his shirt off to reveal the Superman logo.
yeah.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, man.
I mean, it explains like the miraculous behavior
Yeah.
that you'll see. Like, have you seen the video of the guy doing a backflip off the
building?
third story?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This nigga is 50. Oh shit. Oh my god. You alright, bro?
Did you have any like physical feats that you accomplished?
No, but somewhere there's a video of me hitting crack and then taking off my shirt and freestyling. So that was more of a mental feat.
I'm just curious, just like about the hair-on feeling.
If you could just have like a suit made out of like a car's seat warmer, you know?
Well, why don't they just get that?
Because I can't put that up my nose. Like heroin is the warm blanket feeling and you slowly drift off to sleep. Fentanyl is just like, all right, I am going to sleep now. You know? And
yeah,
it just,
I could see how people might die of that.
Yeah, I did die of that.
You
Like
got
that-
resuscitated?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Was
that's
that
when I got arrested? Yeah.
Wow.
So I got off probation and I started using again, and my kid's mom, she caught on rather quickly, and she was like, all right, well, you don't have to get sober. Like, that's fine. Like, do whatever you want. But like, me and your daughter are not going to be here for it, so like figure out what you need to do and, call me once you figure it out. So I was like, well, I'll try getting sober. I have all these connections now. I've met enough people over the last 3.5 years, and a lot of those people have stayed sober over that 3.5 year period, you know? And so I gave that a shot. I moved into another halfway house again, did meetings and this and that. And then ended up like reconnecting with my kid's mom, you know, and she let me move back in with them. And the rest is history. That was April 1st, 2018.
Damn. To overcome the demons, whatever you want to call them, to like, you know, show up and like be there, you know, for your responsibilities for your kid. That's pretty punk rock.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, I never wanted to be a dad, but now that I am a dad, it's something that it's incredibly important to me to try and do it right.
Yeah.
You know, and it's cool. I like being a dad and like being a stepdad and stuff. I don't know. I'm like incredibly like emotional now, and like I'm very like sentimental and stuff. So there's like a lot of it invokes a lot of feelings. There's a lot of things that I get to
and that
feel.
probably wasn't there
before. No, not before. Before I was just like anything I would feel I'd be like confused about, and so then I would like I didn't spend any time like looking inside and figuring out what these feelings mean.
You got into stand-up comedy like going on like 2 3 years now?
2 years ago. So my kid's mom and I split up. It was something I always wanted to do. My kid's mom and I split up. I tried to fill that hole with like relationships or whatever, and like I was in kind of a like dark place where I was like, I'm gonna drink again, and that's fine. Like it's fine. I am mature enough that I can handle drinking. I had just been somebody's date to a wedding where it was very alcohol heavy, and I was like, this is it. This is where I'm going to drink. And then I actually just messaged Matt McCusker out of just like complete like I'm going crazy and I'm just gonna reach out to one of the funniest people that I know. We just like talked, and then I was like, wait, he did stand-up comedy, and I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy. I'm gonna do stand-up comedy, and if it doesn't work out, then I can drink. There's no way I can bomb and feel worse than I do right now. I went out and I found an open mic, and I did it. That first night, I thought I had the best set in the world, and I might have actually. I did my set, and I was like kind of feeling myself and had a little bit of fucking swagger about me, and then in walks a crack dealer that I owed a lot of money to. I was like, all right, well, goodbye. And then I just like, I kept showing up to that mic with the money that I owed him.
Just in case?
Just in case, yeah. That's how bad I wanted to do comedy. I had $600 in my pocket, totally willing to give up that $600 just in case.
Gotta do 5 minutes. Don't want to get my legs broken. Is that the method they use?
I don't know what he would have done. I mean, dude, he was like fucking 350 pounds. I probably could have outran him.
I mean, give that guy some crack, you know?
Yeah.
He has some. Use it, buddy.
Yeah.
So you did the first mic. You got hooked. Matt McCusker.
Some might say I have an addictive personality.
Yeah, you got... Shout out McCusker. I'm sure he's watching the program right now, but you got to host for him at Bananas.
That was a very cool full circle moment. I think it was around the time that it was confirmed McCusker was coming. I was like just at a show, and Lee had been on it, and then he asked me that night, and I think he might have had a drink or two.
Nice.
So the next morning I double checked. I like texted him and I was like, dude, hey, thanks for thinking of me for that opportunity
that you already said that you were gonna fucking let me do.
He was like, yeah, man, I know you'll do well. And I was like, fuck yeah, cool. It wasn't just a drunk thing. He really believed in me. Cool.
Hell yeah.
Sick. Yeah.
Host a weekend. I'm sure that'd be cool. I'm sure I'll have an opportunity to do it any fucking week now. But to do it for McCusker on the pod, he had brought up this book, Stalking the Wild Pendulum on the Mechanics of Consciousness, and I read it, and I got to say shout out for the recommendation, dude. You changed my life, brother.
Now you gotta fucking recommend a book so that way your Stephen Baer can read that and then hit you up about it. What book are you reading?
I just finished Slaughterhouse 5.
Nice. I love Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah, it was a good read. It's
A little weird.
a little weird.
His style is very hard to get into at first.
And it's like bouncing around through like space and time and all that stuff. But a less than patriotic take on just United States military and how like the powers that be actually feel about the foot soldiers they have carrying out all these things. And kind of just like overall just like existence of the post nuclear world that we live in.
Yeah, it's very funny. When I was doing drugs, I tried so hard to convince myself that like I didn't care if I lived or died. That I truly thought that not even like a nihilist perspective, but I really like thought like I am just a cog in the machine and I die and then I become organic material for the next thing to grow. I tried to convince myself that I didn't care and that I was like okay with that, but I mean like dying kind of is a fucking scary prospect.
Yeah, if you're like in that mind state where like things like concepts like love and gratitude and like having like some semblance of like agency for your life. If you're in a space where like you don't feel any of that, you got to like convince yourself that like the things don't matter if those other things don't exist in your perception.
I also think I just really I like craved a feeling of like, or a sense of like autonomy that I never really had my whole life. I never really like that's probably where like things were like weird for me as a child. Like I didn't really have this sense of autonomy. Not that my parents were helicopter parents, but they really
a little leash on you.
They loved me in the way that they thought was correct, which was pushing me to reach my potential. But the way that I felt like they were determining what my potential was, whereas I think I just wanted to decide what my potential is, and I wanted to be loved regardless of what that potential is. And so I think I like did these drugs that took me out of those situations, and I again had convinced myself that I was being autonomous, which is very funny to do drugs that have like debilitating withdrawals that I was like so chained to, I could not live without these drugs. And it's just a deeply ironic situation,
right? Because you wound up not having autonomy.
None. And then so much so that it led to me being incarcerated. I wanted the opportunity to explore the things that I wanted to excel at, because it's like I did like math and I did like these.
Did you say meth?
Math. If I'm going to escape the 9 to 5, it is probably going to be through stand-up. If I have anything left to potentially excel at, it's stand-up. Because also that's the only thing that I really care enough to excel at.
Okay, who's silly Connor? Who's serious Connor? What are the distinctions?
Silly Connor is just my fiance's son. He called me Silly Connor, and it's very funny. It just makes me laugh. It's just one of those things that's like, I know it's weird walking into a little boy's life, and he has a father that's in the picture and that loves him very much, and for him to have accepted me and to call me like Silly Connor because I just like goof around with him is pretty cool. It's ironic. That statement right there, that was serious Connor.
Yeah, that was serious Connor. Serious Connor on Silly Connor.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get Silly Connor on serious Connor.
This is Silly Connor on serious Connor. That guy's fucking gay.
Got his ass.
But then Silly Connor's just like fucking, dude, how can I make you smile? Because that fucking rocks. Making somebody else smile, making somebody else laugh.
I'll tell you how you can. Why don't you come over here?
Come on,
dude, that's
man.
Silly Steve, dude.
Yo.
That was a good conversation, dude. It's cool that we kind of like came in the scene like at like similar times and like have been like coming up together. You have to respect you as a peer, brother.
Yeah.
You're the absolute man.
And I will see you tomorrow at Funniest Person in Cincinnati, where we both make it through.
That would be cool.